Yeah, my Tigers haven't had quite the week I was hoping for. Not quite as good a week as they've been having previously in May. They split a series against Pittsburgh in Detroit, which is really frustrating because they won the first game 4-0. Had Eduardo Rodriguez coming to the mound, who had been one of the best pitchers in the American League until that point. It seemed like an easy victory, and they lost 8-0. It's just like, what the fuck just happened? That was followed by a disappointing but a competitive series in Washington, where they lost lost 2 out of 3. Washington's not a good team. They're probably, a little better than what the record says, but that was a frustrating series that I think the Tigers could have done a lot better in. Now they're in Kansas City. Right now it's a split series. The rubber match is tonight in about 20 minutes. We got to rush through this episode.
Yeah, let's get going, man.
We've got the Cubs and Tigers coming out at the same time. Again, like all weekend, this whole week, Cubs and Tigers have played at the exact same time, which is just
that kind of blows.
Yeah, it never happens. I don't know why it's happening so much. So my two favorite teams are playing right over the top of each other. So I just wait for one to shit the bed and switch the channel to the other one. I guess that's been my strategy. But so yeah, I was hoping they wouldn't struggle with the Royals either. But I mean, the game they won the other night in extra innings, 8-5. That was an epic battle. It felt like a playoff game between two really bad teams, but every pitch counted in that one. It was pretty crazy. But it was really another disappointing start from Michael Lorenzen, who I had sung the praises of on the previous episode for controlling the strike zone, as is their mantra. He did nothing of the sort against the Royals, which was rather odd. But Eduardo Rodriguez going last night. He's doesn't look like his former self. That's 2 starts in a row where he's kind of shit in the bed, which is surprising. But the Tigers bats, they're not controlling the strike zone on that side of the ball either. They struck out 12 times last night to some guy named Michael Mayers from the Royals.
Isn't he a musician? Oh, that's John
know.
Mayer. Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, so what they were doing throughout the month of May that was encouraged was controlling the strike zone. That has evaporated somehow, and they need to get back to that. But the real issue, and we all knew it was coming, and shouldn't be surprised. I don't think anyone is.
I'm gonna be surprised. Go ahead.
It is what I'm going to call the Miguel Cabrera situation, the brewing situation there. It's kind of like the Bonnie situation from Pulp Fiction. You have to understand what explosive situation this is. The moment he signed his $8 million, I think his $248 million deal, or 8-year, $248 million, we knew this last year, maybe longer, would be a painful march to the end. And it is proving to be so. It's to the point where Cabrera is essentially playing every third day at this point. They're kind of hiding him as much as they can because he's batting 181 on the season. He has 2 runs scored, 4 RBI, 0 home runs, of course. I think his OPS plus is 32.
Holy
shit!
It's
just not.
That's not Miguel Cabrera. I'll tell you that much.
What do you do though? Like their hands are tied. Once he started this season and started the farewell tour, and there were more developments in that regard that I'll mention in a bit. But you can't just they're not DFAing him. You can't do that to a Hall of Famer. You can't do that to the best right-handed hitter of our generation potentially. He has earned the respect and earned the right to do what he wants, but it's almost like he needs to decide he should stop at some point because especially with last night's game, of course he comes up in the one situation where the Tigers had the best chance to score, bases loaded, 2 outs. He's batting in the 7 hole. So they're trying to bury him there, but of course he comes up to bat and you just know he's just going to ground out. That's exactly what happened. That was their one big chance. They ended up losing 4-1. It's not to guarantee that anyone else could have come up and gotten the base hit, but it's just kind of a fait accompli when you see him coming to the plate now. He doesn't have the bat speed. It's not that he's not brilliant and not one of the most talented players you've ever seen. He just doesn't have the physical skills anymore. So it's either going to take an injury or him just deciding I can't embarrass my team. I can't hurt my team like this anymore. It's not going to come from management side. And that's I I I have mixed feelings about that. Like if they were ruthless pricks, which they should be. This is a win and lose business. They would tell him we're sitting you. We can't do this anymore. But
Right.
on the human side of things, I think that would be so wrong to do that to somebody that's so great. So that's why I'm just calling it the Cabrera situation. It's just it's not going to resolve itself unless he somehow resolves it or somehow an injury does. But uh, the question would be, is he blocking anybody from being on the roster? Potentially, there's Justin Henry Malloy who could be called up. I'm not sure he's really banging down the door. He's so young, and
Right.
uh, it's just going to get more and more awkward as it already has. So I don't know how it's going to get resolved. It bums me out because I used to be so excited to see him come to the plate, and it's just like it's so cringy now. Um, along those lines, cringiness. The Miguel Cabrera victory lap, the memorial
Oh,
tour,
yeah.
continued in Washington this weekend, where growing line of awkward gifts is continuing, where we've chronicled the cheesehead in Milwaukee,
Yeah. I like the
the
donations.
yeah, the brick from Baltimore. The donations are great to his charitable organization, but it was very odd that the Cardinals chose to give exactly $1,500 less than the Brewers did the previous week to that foundation. It's just kind of awkward. But the Nationals gave him a couple items, including a rocking chair with his number 24 emblazoned across the top. Which
Wow, that's not like a fucking
is
little
that?
jab.
Yeah, is that a backhanded
Jesus.
compliment? Like, here you go. Here's your rocking chair, old
Here you
man.
go, Pops.
I think he always takes it in stride. I think it was cool. I think again, it's always the thought that counts.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
he's got a great sense of humor
he
too, so
does,
I'm
yeah.
sure he fucking
But
got a
these,
kick out of it.
I mean, I've been making fun of these gifts from the beginning, but I think they are getting rather rather cringy at times. So we'll see how this continues. But again, that's another reason why they can't just call a halt to the to the end of the end of the road for Miggy, like just prematurely. That he's on this cool tour, which I think he should be recognized by all these places, even if they make it a bit awkward. I love the gesture, but it's getting to the point where, man, something's coming to a head. And if the Tigers, second place Tigers in the AL Central, if they are,
It's
you know,
anyone's division.
yeah, if they are in contention, the longer they are in contention, the more awkward this gets. So as bizarre as the situation is, and as mediocre as the Tigers really are, they could have a chance to win this division if they got contributions from their entire 26-man roster. And that's just not the case right now.
Hmm. Well, we'll see what happens this weekend. Probably be in third or fourth place after the weekend. So
Yeah, your bold proclamations that we hear every time when the Tigers play the White Sox, that you will have a sweep at hand.
well, I know Dylan Cease will be pitching one of the games, so that's a win.
Well, Michael Kopech is not, which we'll get to him in a bit. But yeah, that's it. I was thinking we might miss Cease, but he's pitching probably the final game of the series.
Yep.
All right. You mapped this all out already. I can see you're fired up about it. But we'll get to your White Sox in a little bit.
Word Hole Media.